everybody is geared up to draw today because I think today's a great day to draw. So, one of the problems we have sometimes when we're working in our sketchbook or even when we want to draw is getting an idea. How do we come up with ideas? So, writers get writer's block. Well, artists get artist block too. So today we're going to look at what you can do to get out of your funk, so to speak, and figure out what to draw. This exercise is about power writing. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to start you off with a sentence. And then I want you to set your timer for, let's say, 2 minutes. Well, you can either set your timer or you can have a goal of filling up the paper. Either one will work. But what you want to do is kind of clear your head and you write anything that comes to mind once you get started. And it doesn't need to make sense. It can be a rambling thought process. It's just whatever pops in your head, you just start writing. Now, those of you that have never done this before, just write. Those of you that feel a little bit more confident in what you're doing, when you're writing, the next key is to practice different lettering. So you might do cursive for a while, then print, make it small, make it big, fill up your paper so that the words, have rhythm as well. They look like just marks. So really what we're doing is mark making with writing. So the prompt. I'm going to start out with something really simple. Now again, once you have done this for yourself, you're going to have to come up with your own sentence starter. Alright? So today I'm just going to write what I'm talking about or saying or doing or what I've done in the past. My starter sentence for you is, today I woke up and then you just go with it. Now I'm going to do this with you, and then we'll talk about, while I'm writing, I'll talk about how you can do a little bit more with this, what you do with it when we're done. Now that I have finished my power writing, what next? There are 2 different things you can do. Well, actually, there's probably a lot of things you can do, but the 2 things that I would suggest would be, 1, to find key words or key phrases or even a key theme or idea of what you were doing when you were power writing. And let that be your jumping off point for creating something fun and neat and unusual. The other thing that you can do is take this page and put gesso over it. With gesso, you can put it on lightly enough that these words will actually show through as part of your background. And then when that dries, you can draw something really fun and creative on top of that. So, let's see what that might look like. And gesso, there are lots of different brands out there for gesso. I would suggest getting a name brand because it's a little bit more fluid and, paint's a little easier. I've gotten some off brands that have been real thick and kind of gunky. So, they work. You water down a little bit, they work just fine. So, it doesn't really matter, but gesso, and I used to have a phrase in my classroom, gesso fixes everything. Because the beauty of gesso is you can take an old yucky piece of artwork that you're not happy with, and then gesso over it, and all of a sudden you have automatic background for something new and fresh and exciting. So, let's get started. Before I start gessoing, I want to circle the key words that I think might generate a creative idea for me. And I want to take maybe a Sharpie marker or a pen, something that will make those words stand out a little bit. Then when I apply the gesso, I want to do it in a very light way. Now, you see here, I am making marks in the wet gesso with the back end of the brush. This is going to create some really cool texture for me, and I can write words in it. I can do all kinds of fun things. You can even do some textural things if you'd like. So, let's see how that looks. Before I started gessoing, what I really should have done is stick a cover page between the page that I'm gessoing and the rest of my sketchbook so I don't mess up the other pages. In this case, I wasn't worried about it because the page I was working with was a little bit smaller. But seriously, wax paper works great. Piece of poster board, just, scrap paper of any kind that will provide that barrier surface for you. Let's say you're having a difficult time coming up with that beginning sentence. Here's a few tricks that might help. You can take one of your favorite books and open it to any page. Take your finger, scroll down until it stops, and then use that sentence as your starter sentence. Now that's one thing you could do. The other is that you can make some idea strips, and this can work for a lot of different things besides just power writing. But what I've done is I have created power strips that have a subject. So here are some of my subjects. A jelly bean. I'm going to drop it, and I'll fold it into my jar. It's my subject jar. A green lizard. A red car, a dog, my friend. So they can be simple or they can be more complicated. And then you have an action that goes along with that. So now I get a second jar. It's my action jar. And I have messaged the baker. So some of them are kind of random. Braved the dark forest. Tied its shoes, gathered potatoes, took flight across the lawn. And then when I'm stuck, all I have to do is grab one subject and, oh good, I have the dog tied its shoes. That's my starter sentence, and I could come up with all kinds of fun things to go along with that, right? So these are just two possible ideas that might help you get out of your creative funk and get started drawing again.